Hi and welcome. My name is Farahamberh and you're listening to All the Cool Kids Are Vegan podcast. Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode on both of our podcasts with Kindness with Amy and Far Vegan of All the Cool Kids Are Vegan. So today's episode we're dedicating to World Vegan Day. So happy World Vegan Day everyone on the 1st of November. Very special day for us vegans. And yeah, we want to dedicate this episode to celebrate veganism, what veganism is about, why we're vegan. We're going to go into our vegan journey stories and just saying all the reasons why to be vegan because it's just super logical from our perspective at least. And so let's dive right in. Amy, first of all, thank you again for doing this episode together.
Pleasure, yes.
So exciting.
I don't think I've ever shared why I went vegan on a podcast before.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm very happy that we're doing this now. Because I actually told you, I was like, you've never shared it. We have to tell people how you turned vegan.
But then I'm like, does anyone really care?
Yes, we care. So Amy, please tell us, what turned you vegan? What inspired you to go vegan?
Well, for me, I went vegan about 20 years ago now.
Amazing.
It was... I feel like it's before it was cool. Like, it's kind of like when you watched Game of Thrones back in the day before everyone watched it, you know, those are the vibes. But no, in all seriousness, I was actually at like a potluck with some people and vegans, vegetarians, meat eaters, whatever. I was at this potluck and this lady said to me, "Why are you not vegan?" And I was really like taken aback because I was like, usually people ask with some kind of judgment, "Why are you vegan?" Not why are you not vegan.
Right.
And
no one really asks you that.
No one asks you that. And that really, like, I was like, shit, well, I don't know. We need meat. It's good for us. It's natural. Well, all the, reasons.
Yeah.
Then it's almost like a stroke of fate. I saw a random PETA video of like some dairy thing. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is like terrible. And then I thought maybe it's like an isolated case or something. And then I started looking more and more into it. And I started educating myself about animal agriculture and what we're doing. And the more and more time I spent researching, I read the China study, I watched Earthlings, all this stuff. And it was just like a radical discovery for me. And I was like, I just can't, in good conscience, support hurting animals when I can choose not to. Wow. And it was that simple for me. I was like, if I was in survival situations, maybe it's a different conversation, but I'm not. And so if I have a choice, I can't justify hurting animals. So it was just an overnight decision for me. And certainly it's the best decision I've ever made for my health, for my well-being. And it's been fantastic. I've never had a health problem. In fact, for me, I'm extremely lazy as an individual. So being vegan has been great in that way because I don't have to think about my nutrients and my weight. And being an actor as well, I have to maintain some level of weight. And being lazy as an actor is a huge issue because then you can get fat and skin and gross and all that. So it helps me to maintain a healthy weight and all that stuff with doing minimal effort. So I love that.
Yeah. Reminds me a bit of the link between dairy and acne. So it's kind of you don't even have to worry about that because there's no dairy.
Yeah. So what about you? Why?
Before we get into me, can I ask you, were you eating everything before that? You were not a vegetarian or?
So I've been kind of on off, non-vegetarian from my mum's side because my mum's actually Catholic. So my mum's side of the family would have a lot of mutton, a lot of animal products. That was pretty normal to have that. But my dad's side, which is ironically the Australian side, he was vegetarian. And so I kind of ate vegetarian with my dad and stuff, but then mum would sometimes give me meat and things like that. Okay. Then at school I had a lot of pressures around eating meat too. So because it was a Catholic school, so it was very normal to be eating meat and you're weird if you didn't eat meat. So I was kind of on and off. So the switch was actually quite easy for me when it came to meat. I didn't care so much. But dairy was something that was an adjustment for me.
But after watching all the documentaries and stuff, you were like, this is the only way I want to be.
100%. Yeah. 100%. watching the documentaries, I'm like, I'm clear on it. And it's not like I went vegan because I don't like the taste of meat. I don't like the taste of dairy. I love the taste of all those things.
Yeah.
So I love that there's now alternatives out there that don't harm animals. So when I do have that hankering for, some cheese, or I have a hankering for, meat, like a patty or something, I can have those things.
100%.
And so many people will say like, oh, but why do you want the fake thing? And I'm like, well, then why do women use dildos?
Facts. Exactly.
No broken hearts involved.
Yeah. I love it. It's so true.
Yeah.
If we can eat the exact same thing with the exact same taste without harming others,
exactly,
that's the way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
So what about you? Tell me about your vegan journey.
So I've been vegan now for 3 years.
Okay.
My vegan anniversary is in August, from August 2020. So
wow.
I turned vegan. My brother, he was vegan before me for a year. I kind of didn't understand why he was vegan. Like I thought it was just a diet trend or something, and I didn't understand the ethical perspective at all, which is pretty interesting to recognize that cognitive dissonance that I had then. Like I can recognize it now when I look at how I was towards him being vegan. But we were all living together in quarantine, and we had a lot of plant-based dinners for my brother. So I was accidentally plant-based. Like I was eating most just vegan food, actually. So my body was really adjusting to plant-based diet. And then I remember one moment I ordered an outside dish, like I ordered food, and it was a dairy-heavy dish. And because my body was already adjusting to like no dairy, no meat, no animal products, I felt so nauseous after eating that. Like I wanted to throw up.
Wow.
Literally. And then I was like, you know what? I never want to eat something that makes my body feel this way ever again. So that's when I was like, I want to cut out all animal products as well. And it's only then when I cut out the animal products that I actually realized what happens to the animals in the industry. Like I don't think I exposed myself to it while I was still eating animal products.
Right.
So it took me like cutting out all the animal products to look into what it is that happens to animals. That's when I watched videos on the dairy industry and everything. And that's when I became really passionate about it. And I was like, whoa, like this is like information has been hidden from me, and like now I'm finally finding out about what it is that happens to animals, and then these products are not worth all that suffering that they go through. So that's when I was like, I turned plant-based for health, and then I became vegan for the animals after that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm happy that happened, but I'm sad that it didn't like click immediately.
Yeah,
like it does for some people. They watch Dominion and they change overnight.
Yeah,
but it was a gradual process for me, basically.
Yeah. It's a different journey for everyone.
100%,
yeah. So, and anything is better than nothing. So
yeah.
If it's gradual, that's awesome.
I'm just happy that it led me here. At least health led me here, and it did. Like I had a lot of positive health benefits for sure, because I was already vegetarian for 6 months as like a New Year's resolution by that time.
Yeah.
But then quitting dairy was big for me. Like I never realized how heavy dairy impacted my body.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, I studied in Paris, where there's a lot of cheese and mozzarella and everything. Like there's just so much milk everywhere in Paris.
Yeah.
So I remember that I would go to college and I would like be really tired. I had a lot of I was sick often, and I was eating a lot of yogurt and dairy in general. So quitting dairy was the best for me. Like my fitness went up. Like I'm never tired anymore. Like I used to get migraines. I never get migraines anymore. And it's only realizing now.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's like realizing now that I don't get them anymore. Like because I obviously forgot what it's like to have one.
Yeah.
And it's like you forget then that you used to get them often. And it's funny now.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was a lot of health benefits, but obviously vegan for the animals now, 1,000%.
Which is so funny, because most of the times people assume that you get weak by being vegan.
I know.
It's like, no, dude, I've got way more energy now because I'm eating all the time.
Yeah.
Like the digestive system is like at it, and so you're eating more. You're getting more energy, and you're not eating food that's like weighing you down and making you sluggish. Like your body's actually performing better.
That's what my brother said, the same thing, how usually sometimes, after a heavy meal, you feel like you want to sleep and lay down, like when you're eating animal products. But after like even a heavy vegan meal, like you can get up and go for a run or whatever.
Exactly.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So health, definitely a lot of benefits, but doing it for the animals, like now I'm like super, like I've really exposed myself to all areas of the animal agriculture industry, all the practices that they do to animals, and it's just something out of a nightmare. So that's why I'm so passionate about it today and spreading it online and stuff.
So let's break down.
Yes.
I mean, you and me as plant-based content creators, podcasters, we hear it all.
Yeah.
When it comes to arguments against veganism.
100%.
And I think it's really important that we address those arguments, and especially celebrating World Vegan Day, break it down into what are the key things that people have against veganism. And I think the easiest way for us to break it down is to do it in animals, environment, and health.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I'd really like to share with our audience what are the core reasons for being vegan, starting with the animals.
If we look at it from an ethical perspective, it's merely a matter of minimizing harm.
Right.
If we have the option to not hurt an animal versus hurt an animal, why would we choose the option that hurts the animal?
Yeah, I mean, familiarity bias is something that's deeply embedded in our psyche. Like, for example, culturally in China, it's so normal to boil dogs alive. And in some places, it's normal to cut the genitals off women. I mean, technically, you would say this is their personal choice. But does that make it correct? Now, the answers may differ based on someone's familiarity bias.
Yeah, exactly. So the logic is very simple. If we do not need to hurt animals for our survival, then how can we justify hurting them? Can we justify hurting them ethically?
Yeah, I mean, all right. For example, if you wouldn't hurt your dog, why would you then hurt a pig when you simply don't have to?
Exactly.
It's that simple. Okay, so moving on to health.
Yeah.
I feel like we've covered animals like that. Like from an ethical perspective, that's like how simple it is when it comes to animals. Yeah. So moving on to health. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to health. Yeah. People say that veganism is not healthy, people get weak, it's not good, there's not enough protein, plants, this, whatever. But ultimately, according to the British and American Dietetics Association, a vegan diet, a well-planned vegan diet, is perfect for people at any stage of life.
You're exactly right. There's such a misconception about these animal products, and actually consuming animal products has been linked to so many health diseases, like there's obesity, cardiovascular disease, cancer even.
Absolutely.
You know, and in fact, there's actually research that says that people who consume a vegan diet actually take 58% less medication than people who don't.
58% less?
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
I mean, you and I barely get sick, to be honest. So like, it shows a lot.
Right. Yeah. So according to Dr. William Castelli, who did the largest study on heart disease in the world, and this is the longest running clinical study that's ever been done on heart disease, basically he said that if Americans adopted a vegetarian diet, heart disease would disappear.
Wow.
He also said that Americans have been brainwashed to eat meat.
They really have.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's been brainwashed to eat meat, but I mean, that comment really is applicable to everywhere.
Especially if it can solve your health issues. It's like diet is the main thing to look at when you have health issues.
Yeah. When you really think about it, it's like, even when we look at back in the day, when we were cavemen, even then, it's not like we were eating high amounts of meat like we are today. Like we were scavenging to survive. Like it was like small amounts of protein. Like even if we were the men hunted an animal, that animal would last like forever because you'd be eating small amounts. Yeah. And the rest would be foraging for berries and whatever else you can find to nourish yourself. So I find it fascinating that, you know, in this modern day and age, we're actually advocating having so much meat and dairy when actually it was never part of our diet to begin with. Yeah. In fact, we are closer to being herbivores biologically than omnivores if we really look at the data. So there's a lot of misconceptions around the health aspect.
Yeah, because we never used to eat this much meat, and we're eating meat, like people are eating meat like 3 times a day even sometimes. It's really insane. And actually, if we look at the data, so the WHO actually states that processed meat is actually carcinogenic to humans.
Oh, wow.
And if you look at like a documentary like The Game Changers, which shows you that all these top athletes who are not only surviving, but they're thriving on a plant-based diet. And what you said about looking at the past, it's like if you look actually at the gladiators, the Roman gladiators, they actually consumed a plant-based diet.
That's crazy. I remember that from Game Changers, that they were on a plant-based diet. I mean, those were like the strongest fighters.
Exactly.
Have recognized the need to be able to be at your optimum performance, that you should be having a clean whole foods diet.
So I think that really debunks the misconception that, you know, a vegan diet isn't healthy for you.
Yeah. Done.
More
Next.
than healthy for you. Exactly. So moving on then to another really important topic, the environment, which people are not realizing that we are currently eating ourselves to extinction.
Literally.
And the only way to save the planet is to actually go plant-based. Because if we look at the data today, we can see that animal agriculture is actually a major contributor to climate change, greenhouse gas emissions, species extinction, and land and water degradation.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, a vegan reduces their carbon footprint by 75%. Wow. That's not a joke. Like, that's
crazy.
A huge... It's not like 5% or 20%. It's like 75% of a reduction in your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
That's astronomical.
It's amazing. Like, I feel like a lot of people who care for the environment, you pretty much have to go vegan, because I think if you're a climate change activist, you cannot be consuming meat. Hello.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there a fact about the vegan beef patty and the amount of water?
That having one beef patty is the equivalent to showering for 2 months.
Wow.
I mean...
Can people like imagine showering for 2 months? Like, people actually take short showers for the environment, and then they go to eat like a beef patty like at McDonald's. That doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
So moving on to how important it is for our world to shift to a plant-based diet, not only for the environment but also for people. So there's actually veganism can actually solve world hunger, which is like a huge fact, because currently 345 million people are starving.
Oh, wow.
And we can actually feed an additional 4 billion humans if we switch the crops that we currently grow to be fed directly to humans instead of to animals.
That's amazing.
I know. And I feel like this is something that we, if you care, veganism doesn't only care about animals, it also cares about people.
Yeah, I mean, if the world switched to a vegan diet, we would actually be freeing up 75% of the agricultural land that's currently used for animal production.
Insane.
This land could then be used to grow crops directly for human consumption, which would actually increase global food supply by 70%.
That's huge.
Yeah.
The fact that we can actually solve world hunger and like feed so many people. It's such an inefficient food supply that we have right now, food system that we have, where we're growing all these crops for animals and we're only getting like 20%. I think it's like 80% of the current use of animal agriculture is going for animal products that are only giving us 20% of our calories. So if we actually switch to plant-based, we can feed so many more people.
Exactly.
So veganism cares about people too. So if you care about people, if you care about the environment, if you care about health, if you care about the animals, then...
But wait, Farah, there's one more important thing you're forgetting.
What am I forgetting?
That plants have feelings.
But if you want to argue with me that plants have feelings, then veganism is still the right way to go about it. Yes, if anyone ever gets this argument, then they have to tell them that veganism is still the best way. Maybe you want to explain a little bit more why?
Well, yeah, okay. Guys, if anyone says to you that plants have feelings, just remember, number one, plants do not have a central nervous system. So they do not experience pain in the same way that animals do. And animals experience pain in the same way that we do. Yeah. But let's assume that plants did feel pain. Ultimately, most of the world's plants, as we just noted, are actually fed to animals that we breed into existence to begin with. So if we weren't breeding those animals into existence, we don't need to give most of the world's plants to those animals, which means we could grow the plants for ourselves, which means we're using less plants, which means if you care about plants so much, then that is you minimizing harm.
Yes.
So, sorry.
Exactly. So even if you do really strictly want to believe that, even though there's no scientific data to back that up,
exactly,
you can still consume. You can be rest assured that a vegan diet still harms less plants.
Absolutely. And I think that's ultimately what it's all about. It's
less harm.
Choosing to be plant-based, choosing to be vegan. It's all about just being as light-footed as possible on this earth and causing the most minimal harm that we can.
Yeah.
Especially when we are in a privileged position of choice.
I agree.
Which most of us are.
Exactly. If we have the choice, and we're not asking everyone to be vegan, we're asking those who can be vegan to make that choice that minimizes the harm. Yeah. 100%.
So thank you, Farah.
Thank you,
for
Amy.
another coming together of our podcasts, Farah Vegan and Kindness with Amy, once again, celebrating World Vegan Day, talking about why we're vegan. And if you guys have any other questions, please do shoot them to us. We love talking about everything, debunking myths especially.
Yes.
So
so happy World Vegan Day to everyone, and let's keep celebrating veganism now and forever.
Bye, guys.
See you. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into the All the Cool Kids Are Vegan podcast. I hope to see you soon. If you want to stay updated for upcoming episodes, please follow me at Farah Vegan on Instagram, or follow the podcast channel at All the Cool Kids Are Vegan on Instagram as well. And I will see you soon.